Okay, Elden Ring face data extraction. So if you're like me, you probably saw these two Zuli the Witch videos and wanted to know how to extract that data. So here's how you do it. Okay, so you will need three softwares for this. The first and most vital is Ninjaripper 2.1. Now, that is a paid software. You can access it at Ninjaripper's website and through Patreon. It's worth the money. It's pretty cheap, and it can work for more games than just Elden Ring. Then you will need Blender to have a software to import it to. That's just what I use. You don't have to use Blender. Then of course you will need Elden Ring to rip the files from. You will need a PC copy of Elden Ring. Now, just to be clear, this tutorial is just targeted towards NPCs, but it works for your player character, it works for invaders, anything with face data basically. Even no face data. It works with just plain old models too, but to my knowledge, this is the only way to get a 3D model of face data out of Elden Ring and into an importer. Okay, so installing Ninjaripper is pretty easy. Go to ninjaripper.com, you'll go to download link, and then from there you'll be redirected to the Patreon. You will have to pay a membership fee, pretty cheap, worth the effort. Download Ninjaripper EXE. You'll see any latest version will work. So just download the latest version that's there. Once it's finished, I already downloaded it. Um, but you'll get an exe for the installer. You'll just launch the installer and install to the directory that you need it to be in. So here I've made a folder with everything that the tutorial will need. First, of course, Blender. Then I made a shortcut to my Elden Ring game directory. It's downloaded in Steam files. And then the zip file that's included in Ninjaripper that will add to Blender as an add-on. And then the Ninjaripper export file shortcut. And then Ninjaripper setup exe, which you'll have to do, and then you'll get the application. And that application can be found in the Ninjaripper install files. So I'll just click the zip real quick, and then in 64, that's where the application will be. Mine I installed to my hard drive. There it is, Ninjaripper exe, or it'll appear in your recently added applications on Windows. So you can just press Windows Home key. There it is on my desktop. So we're going to launch it, and once we launch it, you're gonna see something like this, probably with nothing filled in to the directories or program. So then you will go to your Elden Ring directory. Elden Ring on Steam, manage, and then browse local files. To make this work, we're going to have to launch Elden Ring unprotected so that it doesn't get us for cheating. So to do this, you're gonna make a copy of your Elden Ring exe file in the game directory, and then you're gonna rename this copy start underscore protected underscore game .exe, and then you're gonna rename the file that's start protected underscore game. It looks like a little bear. You're just gonna rename that original so that we know which one is the first one. This is gonna trick the launcher into thinking that the normal exe is the protected game. And so what you're going to do now is go up to the directory of the file and copy that. And then you're going to click the three dots on the Ninjaripper executable program. And you're going to paste that directory. And then double click and open start protected game.exe, the one that we made. And then you are going to restart. Do not launch. It won't work. You gotta restart your computer. Thank you. And also before launching, you're going to want to turn off overlays. Steam overlays, NVIDIA, Discord, close that, turn off overlays. But just make sure that there's nothing that can interfere with the capture of the game from Ninjaripper's side. So once you press launch, you're going to make sure no cheat screen comes up, and then you'll see at the top left right here the interface. So that means that it's working. So when we press print screen, it's gonna scan, and it's gonna export the current view of our game into something that Blender can read with the add-on. And so we're just gonna load in. And once you load in, you're going to find which NPC you want to extract or model. And I'm gonna take my helmet off just so I can demonstrate that I can extract my face data as well. And it won't extract anything behind you, behind the screen. So everything that's in your view is going to be extracted, everything behind is not. So you want to get close to the NPC to make sure you have full quality mesh and textures, and then you're going to press print screen, and you can see top left, it's extracting, and this does take a while. So once that's done, you're going to open or close Elden Ring, of course, and then open up the folder in which it extracts, and I'll show you how. You'll know that it's done collecting information and extracting when your game unpauses, is playable again. So from there you can just turn to desktop, and right here where it says open rip de, that's the rip directory of Ninjaripper. So that'll automatically open up that folder, and to find the one, you'll probably have a couple. So the one with the largest file size, usually in gigabytes, is going to be the one. That's the one with all the information. So look at this. Kilobytes, 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 kilobytes. And so right here, 3.18 gigabytes. You open up frame 0. You want to rename it. I rename all of mine towards what's scene I'm extracting. So right here, I'll rename it White Mask Vare. Open up that file, and you'll find in frame 0, that is the frame that we extracted. See here the screenshot of that. You can extract more frames than one per session, but for now, I'm just doing one. And now to actually be able to use this mesh information data in Blender, we need to install the Ninjaripper Blender add-on file into our Blender. So you will find this add-on file by going into the Ninjaripper file location. So you open file location, the shortcut, and then shortcut open file location, and then in importers, you will see io_import nr zip. So that is the file that we want. You want to copy the directory of this and then open Blender. So to install the add-on, basically under Blender add-on, we go to Edit Preferences, and then right here in the Add-ons tab, you'll press Install, and then paste the directory that we copied earlier, and double-click the IO import. And then you can look up Ninja Importer, and right there, and make sure it is enabled. And it might be useful to restart Blender after this. Once you have a fresh file now, you're going to go up to File, Import, and you'll see Ninjaripper, World Space, and Local Space. The first step here, we're going to click World Space. And just to remind you, you can always go into your File Explorer and the Ninjaripper file and copy the directory of that, and then paste it into the Blender import. In my case, I named my folder White Mask Vare. I'm going to select frame 0, then I'm going to shift click, scroll all the way down, and then shift click to make sure I have everything in there. And for this step, we don't really have to worry about the settings over here. We will later though, so take note of that. We're going to import, little blue button, and it will take a while to import. Mine usually takes 2 to 5 minutes. Well, yeah. You will know it's loaded because you'll see all these meshes, and if you zoom out, you'll see this little dome, skybox. So we're gonna turn that, make sure the orientation is the right way, and we're gonna go clean things. So delete these borders, delete these chunks of textures. We're looking for the characters here, and they're gonna be really zoomed in because, I mean, Elden Ring is huge, so it rendered in the whole scene. We get to delete the rest of the world around them to find them. And delete those blocks that cover up the chunks. Delete the environment. Just go trimming as you go. Make sure to clear out all the outcroppings here. So that's the Church of LA. So we should be right here on this rock. And there we are. All these objects are the ones that are rendered behind us. So we're going to delete those. We're going to delete everything around our character that we want to export. Don't worry about all the textures looking messed up now. We don't really need to worry about that in this step. So now that we have 2 characters cleared, we'll delete that. So that's my face data right there, but I'll delete myself because I don't want myself right now. I want White Mask Vare. So now that I've got that, here's the vital step. You will go closing down every single collection in the file viewer or the manager scene collection, and you'll go deleting the ones that don't have any mesh data to them. You'll know they have a mesh data because they'll have that little orange triangle. Here I am just deleting everything that's empty because the collections that have mesh data in them are the ones that have White Mask Vare in them. And so those parts are, right now, since he's in a dynamic pose, we want him in T pose, an A pose. So we'll know which meshes are his when we import the T pose collection. So I'm going to make a new collection, call it White Mask Vare, and I'm going to import everything that's not deleted in the scene right now into this collection. And we can turn off view and turn it on, make sure we got everything. That's mostly him. And then we're going to press import, and this time we're going to do local space, the T pose. We're going to the same thing. Shift click on all the mesh, and then we're going to don't load meshes without textures and get texture chords from world space. Make sure you take those off, and then you'll import, and you'll have to wait another couple minutes. Now that it's loaded, you can probably see that it's all in different places. So what it is, everything that we imported is stacked in the middle. It's in its T pose, its basic pose. It has no location information in it. So I'm going to zoom out. You can see on the right that I collapsed all my collections. So it's all straight. I'm going to straighten this. And now here's the fun detail. This is what makes it cool. Now, since we already had the White Mask Vare thing, those collections imported, duplicates of those collections have .001 at the end. So we know, don't delete those, delete everything else. So everything with .001 you keep it. I'm gonna go deleting all this that doesn't, and keeping what does. And I click that to see which collection is. If you click an object in the viewer, 3D view, you can see in what collection it is. And sometimes these collections overlap. But in this case, there was a couple of vertices off in the distance that I did not delete when I was clearing up the world space of White Mask Soiree. So that's why the entire collections related to those little vertices are now right here, like they're still here. And so when you do this, make sure there is absolutely nothing around whatever model you're trying to export, because sometimes you will find out that there's little stray vertices or stray triangles that are completely on their own, and if you don't select them completely, they won't get deleted. So now I can see here's my player character, and he's in A pose, and he's stacked on top of White Mask Soiree. So I'm gonna work to get at. It might freeze. This happens. Doesn't take too long, but make sure you enable that so you can see what the mesh is. And then I'm clicking right here to see which mesh is mesh. So you can see right there which mesh is which. Excuse me. But those little stray vertices, little faces, they fucked me up. Sorry, excuse me. They messed me up. And so now I have to go on and clear this out. Sometimes, like you see there's even like almost completely empty meshes. I don't know what that is. I think little stray particles off in the distance. Elden Ring has a lot of things going on, so I wouldn't be surprised. There is a little leaf at the end of the view distance that I missed when selecting and clearing them out. So, and now you can see here, duplicate meshes in the collection themselves will also have .001. And so now you can just clear out everything that's not .001. So you can see I just cleared out my player character's mesh, and now I'm cleaning up past it. On your own, it does take a good amount of time. You can see that the attention to detail, devil's in the detail, right? If you don't delete everything at first, in the first step, you're gonna have trouble here on the second. But it's not too bad. You just delete the duplicate meshes. You delete the singular meshes. You keep the duplicates. Okay, so I sped through that. Now, you can see here, White Mask Soiree little hood. It's a different mesh than the one on his head and the one on his shoulders. You can always attach that later, or import the actual hard model that the player character uses. That'll be somewhere else in the game files. You have to extract that separately, but maybe, I mean, there's tutorials for that out there, and there's like a Google Drive with all of them in there, all the armor, weapons, all that. But for the face data, that's what we're focused on. I'm gonna merge vertices by distance. This will get rid of duplicate vertices and duplicate meshes, so it'll keep us from getting errors on that account. And so I'm taking off the mask, and you can see that is the face data, the mesh of the face data. So I actually don't need the whole thing right now because you can see the whole face data actually clips out of the hood. It doesn't fit in there. In game, you can see it's only the top half of his face that's rendered. So you can see that face data. Since I don't need it personally, I'm just going to delete the entire mesh of the face and just keep the top half. So now it's time to move on to the texturing, the shading. So the thing about Ninja is he's a really great streamer, and the Ninjaripper is a great program because it extracts the textures just as well as it does the meshes. So if you go into rendered or shading tab here in Blender, you can see that the image textures are here. You just have to connect them. And surprise, surprise, it connects the UV maps as well. So I'm gonna change my view over here to UV map. You can see it's mapped perfectly. So that's the texture of the mask. Looks beautiful. Now for the face. So I took off the mask, and here I'm going to edit the face. Face texture right here. And White Mask Vare actually has that tattoo on his forehead. I haven't figured out how to place that other than Blender's built-in stacking with a mix material. I'm gonna get his eyes as well. I'm not sure how Elden Ring processes eye textures. I'm pretty sure it's done with some trick in the engine, but this texture is used as the base, and that's what I use. So you can see he peeks to the mask just like he does in game. Even though his eyes in game are yellow, I believe. There's no like yellow eye texture. That's all done with the shading, which takes a long time to emulate here, and I won't share that here. Eyebrows, we have the normal map. That's the texture I'm using because it actually is the only texture that got extracted. This little bush, I don't know what that is, but here is what I'll use for now just to demonstrate. You can always hue shift that or extract the eyebrows from the game files. Shade that smooth, shade that smooth, shade that smooth. So you can see the textures, they don't look bad. It's pretty nicely ripped. The characters coming together. You'll notice duplicate meshes on top of the other. If anything isn't texturing or you don't see your edits, it's probably because it's just not stacked. Or it is stacked on top of something else that's blocking it. And I connected the alpha, so you can see the edges here, same as in game. There's little rips and tears. Here. Once you finish this, here you basically have, I've given you all the tools you need to extract the face data. So face data, there you go. There's the mesh and there's the texture. Normal maps, let's move on to that. That is half the battle here. So here's the normal map for the face. And it's a bit complicated to get it how it looks in game. because if you just do it like that, it's not. I don't know how Elden Ring processes normal maps or why it's different, but you're gonna want to change it to non-color first, and so that'll normalize it a little bit. You can see there's some polygonal stuff there, lines. We don't want that. So let me show you the node setup for this real quick. So this is the patches render, the first one I did to test out the actual method. So here's the method, if you want the method. I mean, my turn is, do you want the method? Basically, you can see that it's shaded, textured, it has the right normal map. And to get that, let me put a light to show a better example. Hide the shield. You can see how the shadow is on the lips, the eyes on that. It's a bit intense with the light that close, but just trust me on this. This is how it works. So here you will take your normal map. Right here, Shift A, and then press search, separate color, and then connect the color node to that. And then Shift A, search math. Let me move that and disconnect this right here so we see what we're doing. And then we're going to subtract. Sorry, multiply. Shift A, math, and multiply. And then connect the green nodes to both values. And then Shift A, subtract now. Let me move this down so we have a little bit more space. Duplicate, Shift D, or you can right click, and then connect the red nodes right there to both values. And then that value to the top of subtract. Move that up. And then duplicate that subtract and put that value to the bottom and that one to the top. And actually move this one to the bottom. And then Shift A, search a value, not that. Shift A, value, input value. Click 1 and then enter. Type 1. Connect that node right there. And then search invert. Connect that node right there. And then math, Shift A math, and then square root down here. Square root. Connect that node to there. And then Shift A, search, combine color. Sorry, not combine color, combine XYZ. And then Shift A, normal map node. And then connect that to the normal. I put in a 5, you can see all the exaggerated shadows. I think what works best is like a 0.5. Really depends on what you're trying to make here. 0.5 is pretty soft. Even softer. You can see shadows go away. 0.5, shadows grow a little bit. And that's the node setup. Make sure you set your image to non-color down there. Yeah, that's it. On another note, If you guys have any questions, I'll link my Discord down below. I might be able to help. If any of you guys know how to export Elden Ring animations and meshes, please let me know. I mean, I've looked basically everywhere on how to export Elden Ring animations along with their armatures and meshes for like the player and stuff. Yeah, please, if you know how to do that, please let me know. I mean, I've tried like 3 different methods, neither has worked for me. This is my contribution to the community. I'm in, but I'd love some help with that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy. Actually, before I go, I mean, join the Discord. I'm gonna be working myself on extracting face data and on these models of the NPCs and all that. And if you want to join in and help and start helping extract this data, or just download it and use it in your own projects, go ahead. Link will be down in the description, as well as the link for Blender, Ninjaripper, and I'm not going to link Elden Ring in the description. I'm sure you guys all have it. Anyway, thank you for watching.